When you examine all of the evidence related to the death of Shannan Gilbert, a strong case can be made that Michael Pack killed her. But before we get into that, we're looking at the Shannan Gilbert case to see if it's related to the Long Island serial killer case. And what we find is 2 or more killers in the same group. This is a group of acquaintances who engage in similar activities, but these activities are illegal, immoral, and demonically influenced. Joseph Brewer had a sex party. The Gilbert family themselves reported that Shannan started making a lot more money after she began doing business with professional men at parties. The night Shannan was killed, various sources indicated that Brewer had a party. Rex Heuermann went to sex and drug parties and hosted them as well. For some strange reason, they don't want people to see the addition being built on Joseph Brewer's house. It has been blocked on Google Earth. Rex Heuermann is an architect. You can't build an addition without an architect, so that's another possible connection. Now I will explain what happened the night Pack killed Gilbert. The disagreement between Brewer and Gilbert was of a sexual nature. Simply put, Shannan didn't want to do what Brewer wanted her to do. Michael Pack even told police that his concern wasn't Shannan, it was money. He was angry with Shannan because now he wasn't going to be getting paid. The reason why Shannan was afraid to leave Brewer's house was because Michael was angry at her. So she's got 1 or more people in the house trying to get her to do something against her will, and she knows if she runs away, Michael will chase her and hurt her because he has threatened her in the past, never to call the police. Gus Coletti agrees with me, so he confronts Pack and tells Pack he dialed 911, and Pack tells Coletti he shouldn't have done that because now Shannan is in big trouble. And I also want to add that, of all the various accounts that we have of the witness Coletti, and I've even seen footage of Coletti speaking, I actually was going to talk to him, but I didn't feel the need to, because Coletti never ever mentioned seeing anyone else chasing Shannan except Pack. And Coletti sees Pack chase Shannan into the darkness, and he says she ran down Anchor Way. Well, Anchor Way goes to Peter Hackett's house and the area where Shannan's remains were found. Next, I will explain the Peter Hackett connection. Peter Hackett's story changed once he was aware that the police were involved. So at first, when Hackett wasn't aware the police were involved, he called the Gilbert family and told them that he gave Shannan something to calm her down, and then she left with Michael Pack. This was only partially true. In truth, Hackett knew Shannan was dead. He didn't want to call the police because of his involvement, yet the doctor in Hackett couldn't just let Shannan rot just beyond his backyard. So Hackett called the Gilbert family just to lay down that first breadcrumb, that first clue. And think about it, if Hackett never called the Gilbert family, they would have no idea what happened to Shannan or where to look. So Hackett isn't all bad. He calls the family, but after the police get involved, Hackett denies everything. Well, Commissioner Dormer did verify that calls were made from the phone of Peter Hackett's wife to the Gilbert family. We know Shannan ran towards Peter Hackett's house and that Peter Hackett treated her illegally by giving her something to calm her down or sedate her. once Shannan was sedated, Michael took her in his SUV and killed her. He strangled Shannan. He carried her over one shoulder and then laid her down, which is why she's found face up. Michael Pack also drilled a hole through Shannan Gilbert's throat, probably because she called the police. Peter Hackett can see some of this activity from his home through the window, and within an hour or so, the sun starts to rise. So if you think about what time that this happened, it wasn't long before sunrise. So the sun starts to come up. In daylight, Hackett goes out and discovers Shannan's dead. He looks through her phone and gets the contact information for Shannan's family. The only other possibility is Shannan gave Hackett the contact info, but Marie Gilbert, Shannan's mother, said she doesn't think Shannan would give her number to Hackett ever, more or less. As far as a house for wayward, troubled teens, that's just another means of exploitation where people with homes exploit homeless people. They offer housing, but then expect the person to do illegal or immoral things. Maybe the addition Joseph Brewer was adding to his home was originally designed to be something like that. We can't see it because it's blocked on Google Earth. Shannan liked to charge more. I believe this made her unpopular. She was very ambitious, and she was pretty much all about money, similar to Michael Pack, and we'll get into that in a moment. And what they will do is a group of people will have a sex party and chip in to hire one girl and then share the girl to save money. Isn't that, these are supposedly people with money and prestigious people, and they're trying to pinch a penny. They will also rape the girl who overcharges and then not pay her. And in this scenario, it becomes very dangerous because something like murder, for example, is much more likely to occur. Rex Heuermann had a history of being rejected by attractive females, and the more attractive they were, the more money they would charge him. So we've seen in some cases where if he was willing to pay enough, then they'd meet with him, and then sometimes they wouldn't want to do anything, or they'd still feel uncomfortable. He would just rape them and kill them. So if he has to pay an unusually high amount, it bothers him. He thinks about just raping and killing them. So rejection and or money and the overcharging issue for Heuermann was what the problem was there. So he prefers these sex parties where his acquaintances are sharing a prostitute, for example. So Heuermann, his hatred is based on money, rejection, and again, I mentioned it earlier, demonic influence. Michael Pack's motive was money and anger over the 911 calls. In Michael Pack's world, snitches get stitches. And that's why he killed Shannan Gilbert. She called the police. And she didn't perform, and so he wasn't going to get paid. Asa Heuermann should have been arrested and questioned. She obviously saw and heard things over the years, and the DNA evidence ties her to several of the victims. The cover-up of Shannan Gilbert, I think Shannan's case was covered up because of the location, as to not draw attention to the other bodies and cases. It could also be as simple as knowing who was at the Brewer party that night. If we knew who was there, it could shed light related to any cover-up. So, for example, somebody could have been present that was a member of that local law enforcement or was in a position to influence the cover-up. But they don't need to know who was at the party or have any additional evidence in order to arrest Michael Pack. A strong case can be made right now against Pack just based on what we already have. I think the first step would be to arrest all three, Pack, Brewer, and Hackett. Then everything, I think, would be revealed from there.